Don't you love us so far? Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. This has been back with you. It's nice seeing our old friend Dave Valley. Dave was actually a graduate of seminary, which I'm now the executive director. It was called the New Seminary at that point, now it's called All Faith Seminary. Here next we have some flyers about the program up here on my table. Just one other announcement, we're going to do announcements. Later this afternoon we have a workshop at 1:30 on the power decision, very important point for us. And also I'm sponsoring along with friend Dave Fishman, a conference, it's not a conference, a retreat at a center called the Sorting Heart Center, half on north of New York City on the Hudson River, near the Hudson River. In October there's stories about that too, so take a look at that. Also pick a copy of my magazine, Miracles Magazine. Been doing that for 33 years, hard to imagine we're still in publication today. Our topic this morning is Word Fasting and Miracle Diet, and I would like to start with by reading just a few separated quotes from A Course in Miracles. And let me pick up the first one here. You have surely realized this by now. You have seen the extent of your lack of mental discipline and of your need for mind training. We're going to do a little mind training this morning. The course is about mind training. It says we need to actually do a complete reversal of thinking so that we're not thinking with the ego or in the realms of the ego, but we literally begin to think with the mind of Christ. And a couple other passages. No one who carries Christ. No, that's not. Sorry. Here we go. It seems as if the world determines what you perceive. Today's idea, which is my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Today's idea introduces to the concept that your thoughts determine the world you see. Your thoughts determine the world you see. That's a basic theme, the one I want to talk about. Two more, very just brief sentences. Watch your mind carefully, for any belief that hinders its accomplishment and step away from it. And one last one. Watch your mind. That's all. I always think it's interesting, a phrase that's repeated many times in the Course, like, it is essential that. If you read it as essential that, then you better pay attention to what it says in the rest of that sentence and the sentence after, right? Well, a lot of times, about 17 times, the Course in Miracles says, watch your mind. In other words, as Dave said, become more aware of what it is that you're thinking. Watch your mind for the temptations of the ego and do not be deceived by it. It offers you nothing. It's actually dreaming the mind. When you have given up this voluntary dispiriting, you're actually kicking spirit out, right? You will see how your mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal if you are not sufficiently vigilant against the demands of the ego to disengage yourself. This need not be. So as I said, this is all about a course in mind training. And I sort of thought of a technique. You like techniques, right? Techniques are something that we can utilize. And this really is a technique which simply involves not just watching our thoughts, certainly watching our thoughts. That's very important, watching our thoughts. Watching you're starting to complain, for example, or if you're being angry, for example, or if you're bragging about things, do you want to really be complaining or bragging or fault finding? Just watch it. See, become more and more aware. What the Course is about, it's literally about becoming more and more and more aware. More and more and more aware. As you become more and more aware, the Course says, as you approach the center, your thoughts become clearer and clearer and clearer. Who doesn't want to have clear thinking, clear thoughts, right? Which means that they're unencumbered, they're unpolluted. The Course starts off with 50 Miracles Principles, and only number 7 of the 50 Miracles Principles says something very clear about what has to happen for miracles to occur. And it says, miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. First we have to kind of clean house. Another way to say this is, you cannot be, well, I've thought about this here before. You cannot be projected and receptive at the same time. So we're learning how to let go of the projection so that we can be more receptive to the mind of Christ. Well, one of the things we're going to talk about this afternoon is you only have 2 choices. Everybody only has 3 choices or 4 choices. Either we're listening to the ego, which we do, most of the time. Eckhart told us about that self-talk, the self-talk, you stupid, you idiot, what do you think you're doing? Why don't you do that? Why don't you say that? What's going on now? And then there is the voice of God, which is defined in the Course as the Holy Spirit. So we're actually being inspired. We're actually receiving divine inspiration. And you know when that's happening too, because it's a very good feeling. Especially if you use it in some creative way, or you use it in writing or speaking, etc. It's a wonderful experience to feel as though the presence of God is in you and working through you. So, a few years ago, I read an article by a fellow named John Dungas in the Scientific American Mind, in which it says a wealth of psychological insight can be gained by looking at the words that come out of your mouth. And he actually did an experiment, I'm not sure this was 100% ethical, where he would go like into a restaurant and he would sit so he could listen to conversation at a table, at another table, right? And he would just make notes of the kinds of things that was being said, the frequency, for example, with which the word I was used, and a kind of conversation that was going on. A wealth of information can be gathered by just paying attention. Jesus in the Gospel says, it's not what you put in your mouth that defiles you, it's what comes out of your mouth that defiles you. But before it can come out of the mouth, it must first be a thought in the mind. And you know how it is when you're talking to somebody, you get this thought you want to say, and there's like this moment in between where the thought comes in and the time it goes into it's almost like we're asking permission of the throat and the tongue. One second, and then, oh damn it, whatever it is, something comes out through the expression, and how, but we also have to kind of give permission for that. So the more we raise our level of awareness, I have a friend who was over at our house, who's actually my wife's best friend, I've known for 25 years, who constantly says, she just says it constantly. And I counted one evening, we're sitting around the table in the kitchen. She said it 6 times in a minute. And I would not normally have done this. Well, you got to be careful. I mean, you got to think about, whether or not it's appropriate to say something or not, right? But I've known her for 25 years. And her name is Bernie. And I looked at her and said, Bernie, I love you. And Bernie looked at me and went, yeah? I love you too, darling. What's coming, right? And I said, Bernie, do you have any idea how often you say, I used to teach public school. Do you have any idea how often you say, you know? No. There was a couple of pennies on the table. I said, let's do a little experiment. Would you mind? We have fun. Let's have fun with this. Every time you say, you know, take a penny, put another empty cup, and every time you say, put a penny from the full cup into the empty cup, right? You can catch yourself doing it, I can catch it by doing it, my wife can catch it doing it. It wasn't more than an hour that that entire cup of pennies had gone into the other cup, right? So we do these things unconsciously to them. So raising awareness means we bring it out of being unconscious to being to the point where we can change our minds, control our minds. Again, I wouldn't do this with them. I wouldn't have done it with a stranger. Do something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at certain kinds of words. And what do you do when you go on a diet? I noticed I used to have a friend named Dave Bell, who was much bigger than this guy over here. And so I asked Dave this morning how to count 60 pounds. What happened to those 60 pounds? Well, he was on a diet. And what did he do? He cut out sugar, he cut out flour, anything that was finely, those two were the particular ones that he mentioned this morning. So you cut out these substances, right? You no longer put them in your mouth. Now we're going to talk about taking away things that come out of the mouth. And I have them in little kind of categories. So the first category I'd like to look at are the things which say something about our feelings and what's going on inside us on that level. There's a very important section, page 48, and 448, chapter 21, section 2, called the responsibility for sight, which we will look at in detail this afternoon. I won't go into it right now. But I would suggest that every Course in Miracles student memorize this 4 or 5 pair of sentences. I am responsible for what I see. Some of you may know this already. I choose the feelings I experience. I won't go through the whole thing. Just go through that. I'm responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience. I will go through the whole thing. I decide upon the goal I would achieve, and everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for, and I receive as I have asked. I want to go back and focus on I choose the feelings I experience. So here's the beginning of the list of words. I have a CD on the table out there, so if you want to get that to remind you, or you can make notes if you want to do that. Or it's also in the book out there I have called Living a Course in Miracles. So, did you ever say that you were disappointed about something? See, the question is, what is it, or who is it that's disappointed? That's the real question, isn't it? The question behind it, who is disappointed? Next two have to do with balance. Did you ever say that you got upset about something? Upset, that's about. So, why would you get upset? See, only an ego can get upset. Can you imagine Jesus getting upset with the disciples who were like, just weren't getting it? No. There's a line, of course, that I'm never upset for the reason I think. It's a deeper thing that's going on. And very similar, this also has to do with balance. Did you ever say that something offended you? Knocked me off. It knocked me off the end. It offended me. Who are you to be offended? Why would you be offended? Now we'll go to another set of examples. So I suggest, we'll mention this. I'm assuming you don't do that next one already. Profanity. Oh, there's some giggling. Damn it to hell. Real? And not only profanities, but vulgarities. You know what I mean by vulgarities, right? I was dating a new lady once that I was serving a church, and I took her to church with me for the first time. The way this church ran is that we would have the services, and then rather than Sunday school being 4, we'd have a little fellowship hour, and then we'd have adult Sunday school where we'd sit around and talk about what I talked about in the sermon. And she kept saying, "Pisses me off." Probably never heard a minister say that from the pulpit before, but okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, we have correction here. So that's an area, the whole imagery of it just doesn't kind of work. Or, you know what I mean by vulgarities. I was a professor for many, many years at SUNY and also at New School University in New York City. And I was in the cafeteria one day and listening to a group of boys who were having a conversation at the next table, not intentionally, but couldn't help it, over good conversation. And they only had one adjective for everything, good and bad, right? And you know what it was, and of course it started with an F. Right? And it was an adjective, and it was an adverb, it was being used as a noun, it was just... They were going through the whole spectrum of all the exclamation point. Right? Well, you know what I'm saying. So, no longer. Then, I'm going to say something more about diswords. By diswords, I mean, I already talked about disappointment, but how about disgusting? Very heavily judgmental word to say something is disgusting, isn't it? Right? This isn't spelled the same way, but despicable. By the way, has anybody got a $10 bill? I absolutely mean this. I need a $10 bill right now. I need a $10. I cannot proceed until I get a $10 bill. Absolutely. Now I can see. Whose picture's on a $10 bill? Alexander Hamilton. Who was Alexander Hamilton? No. First Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. You probably know that he was killed in a duel by the then Vice President of the United States, Ann Arbor, right? You know how that happened? Can you imagine this happening in Congress? It's like a couple little boys. So what happened was that Alexander Hamilton said that something that Aaron Burr had done was despicable. Burr turns back to Hamilton and says, "Take it back." He says, "No, I'm not going to take it back." He says, "Then I challenge you to a duel." Can you imagine? Over a word? Then I challenge you to it. Of course, it was the idea behind the word, but still, they dueled in Weehawken, New Jersey, and Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton over the word despicable. That is as Daffy Duck used to say, despicable. Why would we let something like that take us off of our course? Why would we take it personally? Only the ego takes things personally. Right? It doesn't mean that if somebody says a lie about you, you wouldn't say what is true. But the question is, are you going to let it take you into a place? I once heard an American historian say that he thought that of all of our founding fathers, the one with the highest IQ was probably Alexander Hamilton. But he had a real low EQ. he set up the banking system we still use in this country to this day. And it actually worked pretty good for 2007, 2008. All right? So just, now you will come up with your own list of words. I mean, you will see it yourself as you begin to go through this. Let me do some more examples. Name calling. Name calling. You don't want to ever be really good. Stupid. That is so stupid. Idiotic. Ridiculous. Absurd. Insane. Right? You want to be saying that, you want to be using those words. Name calling. In other words, what you're doing with the name calling, you say the problem is out there, it's not in me. Projection makes perception. You are the idiot. You idiot. You're the one. You know, if you were in charge, things would work out fine, right? Be careful watching the news. I have this woman down in Texas I've been doing some counseling with on the phone. Well, you know who I'm talking about. She just hates our president. Hate him! I just hate him! Just hate him! I said, please, number one, stop watching the news. You know, stop reinforcing this. And stop reinforcing this. This is making you sick. The idea is making you sick. Course in America says you cannot hurt somebody else without hurting yourself. And one of the most basic principles in the Course, of course, is the most basic rule there is in the universe, is the law of cause and effect. What goes around, comes around. Right? So you throw it out, it's going to come back to you. The way you see it is the way everything boomerangs. As you give, so do you receive. Right? As you do it unto others, so is it done unto you. Well, what do we do? The Course is trying to help us to change the way we see. And not just the way we see it, actually asks us. I love the definition of Jesus in the Course. The definition of Jesus is Jesus was a man who saw the face of Christ in all of his brothers and sisters and remembered God. What's the first step there? He saw the face of Christ. It doesn't matter. One of the basic things we're to is stop judging our brothers and our sisters. Just stop the judgment. If you do nothing else, or if you see, just catch yourself judging. And then see whether or not, notice how often over coffee or tea, you sit down and you'll start chatting with people, right? And what will the topic turn to? They. Who are they? They are the idiots out there, right? It's not you. They. There are certain words, I have two sets of words. One set you completely eliminate. Another set you can't eliminate completely, but you could cut back on. One of those is the word they. The frequency with which we throw they out there. And then another word, another set of words are just judgmental words. I will give you one judgmental word, disgusting. Right? I was listening to somebody recently, and she kept saying about somebody, they were so rude, they were rude, they were just so rude to me. Uncouth, appalling, horrendous, inexcusable, that's inexcusable, right? Or atrocious. Here's one that I hear in the news a lot. It's interesting, it's on the news. Outrageous. That's outrageous. Outrageous means that they're all good. Especially in the local news, I noticed it. They're out there raging. They're outraged. So you want to be out there raging? We're talking about peace of mind here. By something that you are offended about. Insulted, right? Comes from insulted, and you feel as though something is leaked on you. I'll just do a few more and then I'll begin to wrap this up. Hate, fear, and afraid. Don't you hate it when you do that? Afraid it's going to rain Saturday night. Really? Fear? About rain? By the way, that word upset that I mentioned a while ago, I was meant to, I'm studying Spanish, and I had to write a little something in Spanish for a story. And I was looking at possible words that I could use, and one possible word I asked God to tell me about the use of the word. Well, there's a lot of words for upset, but one of them is transformado. You gotta roll that out. Transformado. And I looked at that word, and that's an interesting word. That the word tornado is inside that word. Transformado. And what it means is a thunderstorm is coming through. Transformado. Remember Joe Blitfix from Little Avenue? Walked around with a cloud of lightning. You know, that's part of our problem. He walked around with this cloud of worry and projection in the mind. How could you have peace of mind? This is all about coming to a state of peace of mind. And sometimes it's just a little word. Again, I would not normally have done this. But I was staying with a fellow, I was in Unity of Buffalo. And the guy there that I stayed with was professor of physics at the University of Buffalo. I stayed with some interesting people. And this guy, I just love the way he would talk. You could just see him in front of a blackboard teaching. He's like, and then, like the ideas connected together. It's just, this idea connects to that. But he had this little word, little 3-letter word. And he kept saying, what bugs me is, that's interesting. He's got a bug in his psyche. Got a little harvest in there, you know? So this is one of the times when I thought, this is a mature man. I think he would not get upset if I pointed out the bug. I said, didn't you notice that you've got this little bug in there? And he said, you're right, I do know. That's true. I got this puppy. Now some people have been offended by that, but he wasn't. So there's other words that we can come up with. I see that talk on that wall that back there, but I got to wrap this up. There's a concept in Buddhism called moksha, which was developed by Bodhidharma, who was one of the founders of Buddhism. Which is called devise no words. Devise no words. It means serene and aware. And I want to close with this is Chinese, I think, but I've heard this attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson and other people. It's often when you see something that's contributed to a lot of other people, and you know. I saw something on a website on mysticism recently that was attributed to Rumi. It's A Course in Miracles. I called the guy up. I said, it's not a big deal. I said, that leading quote you got, that's straight from A Course in Miracles. It's not Rumi. He said, okay, I'll go fix it. So anyhow, it goes like this. You probably heard it. But so, let me, in closing, just be careful. Think about language. Think about what's rejection. First, it's got to be a thought. And then, if you're going to give expression to this thought, go to cleaning house. That's what we're doing, cleaning house. Purification. As Japanese Buddha says, how can you find the gold if you don't first wash out the sand and the rocks? They're just getting out the sand and the rocks. So that all we're left with is gold. Just cleaning out the stuff that's unnecessary and pollutes the system. Now, I think this is Chinese. Be careful of your thoughts. You know this? For your thoughts inspire your words. Be careful of your words, for your words precede your actions. Be careful of your actions, because your actions become your habits. Be careful of your habits, for your habits build your character. Be careful of your character, because your character determines your destiny.